Ignition liftoff. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have liftoff.
Today, I'm joined by Lemon Fuller, founder of Lemonade Dolls, the UK's fastest growing lingerie brand, breaking every rule in the book. With an inclusive mission, she is making global impact and redefining what empowerment looks like in fashion. So let's find out why she's a lady who launched. Right, before we get into it, if you like this episode, which I know you're going to, please don't forget to like and subscribe and to share it to your group chat. Well, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here. I've got so much that I want to talk to you about. I always start these episodes in the same way. I love talking about early life. And, you know, sometimes it's for the good and sometimes it's the thing that we want to forget. But whichever way it looks, I really feel like it shapes the kind of entrepreneur that we become or the founder that we then become. And when I first started this podcast, I didn't know this is what we were going to do, but it's just become the thing. And you can always link it back to early life. And it really, really interests
100%.
me. So life before being an entrepreneur, how did that look for Lemon?
Very different. I feel like I've lived a few lives, multiple lives. But maybe I'll take it back like really far, but won't touch on it for too long. But like my parents had me as a second marriage. So I grew up in a household with lots of teenagers.
Right.
So my half brothers and sisters. And there was a lot of love. Like it was quite a humble beginning, like very normal, but there was a lot of attention around me because I was kind of, they tried for me for a long time.
Yeah.
Didn't succeed, and then finally had me when my mum was 45. And and so I kind of grew up into this like wild household of energy. There was rotors on the walls to kind of who's going to like pick me up out of the cot, who's going to take me to the nursery, and who's going to, whatever. And I actually think that has contributed to the kind of mass like confidence of I'm going to do something great, because I was always told that I could do anything, even though it was a very normal upbringing. And I think that has really shaped kind of that, because I've always had that kind of slightly strange amount of I'm going to do something epic. I want to do something amazing, and almost from like when I was born.
I love that.
Yeah, almost like straight away popped out in jazz hands and like the splits.
And would you say like fearless?
Yeah. I'm less fearless now.
No,
as I've got older,
life knocks it
as
out
I've got
of
older,
you.
but in my childhood, my teens, in my 20s, I was probably in my 20s that I was the most fearless. Like nothing was going to stop me. I would, we can get onto it, but I was getting like one-way flights to LA with no money, and things just mental, which I would never do now. But because I think you just kind of get some sanity as you get older. I don't know.
Isn't it sad though that life does knock that out of you a bit? Because to have that, running a business, you need to pull back on that a little bit, or a lot. And responsibilities come into play, but that kind of just like, I'm going to just grab it with both hands.
Grit and
this
hustle.
life I've been given.
It's,
I love, and I find that so attractive in a person. It's such a great quality, but life just makes us a bit more cautious.
It does, but I also think that if I'd carried on, I might have died. I might not still be here. So maybe there's like probably a better balance now. But I don't know, popped out, jazz hand splits, straight away, kind of 4 was in every kind of, all I wanted to do was dance and sing and perform and be in front of people and, by the time I was 9, I was working at my local dance school to get free classes and, I don't know, I've always known what I wanted to do and just tried to make it happen.
At the age of sort of 9 or 10, what was it that you thought you really, really wanted?
I wanted to dance and sing for the rest of my life and never do anything else.
Wow.
And I did do that for a long time. But yeah, that was it. But that wasn't, I found that out at 3. You know, I was the kid with the hairbrush. I mean, I don't know. Do you know when you were younger as well?
Yeah. I was quite shy, though. My mum actually sent me to, I had like a stammer for quite a long period of time. And weirdly, I got it off of the back of the chicken pox. So sometimes it can happen. And the same thing happened to my son. And my mum, I went to speech therapy and did all of that. Then my mum sent me to Dancing for Confidence because I'd be like hiding behind my mum's leg and not kind of, which is so ironic that what I do for a living, that she was like, God, she's too shy, this girl. Careful what you wish for, mum. And that was the original reason why I kind of got into it. But I just loved it. I felt like I sort of found my people. I felt that I fit in there a lot more than I did at school. I kind of just loved the whole world and the excitement and the...
Don't you think? And also at such a young age, you're learning these skills of working with people, of like spatial awareness, but not just obviously like, you know, you're going to hit someone if you kick your leg, you know, but just like understanding what the people around you are doing. Like you almost have to have like empathy with it, like everyone on stage, checking in, like going away with the,
so
you know, such a young age. Like there's so many levels of like skills that I
and
now
discipline
use.
too. And I think that work ethic, like you can't just walk in and be the best in the room at something. And I definitely wasn't, but
no, I was not
let me tell you, I was going to be the first there and the last to leave. And I would be that kind of, that grafter, you know.
100%.
So I think there's a lot of kind of things that it does instill for the better.
I always say that I've never actually employed anyone that's been in the military, but I love when I interview people for roles. I'm like, were you a performer? Or we're in the military, because I love it, because people understand how, like, they understand working
and
hard.
do you like underwear?
Yeah. Actually, that's not even really a question. I'm kind of like, you know, do you care about what we're doing and our mission? If that's a yes, then like, but yeah, it's like, I think it really shaped me and formed me to be able to push, and that resilience as well. Like I was like 6 going up for like auditions, you know, even in my local dance school, but I would cry when I didn't get them. I was devastated, you know, at 6. And so that's really set me up really to kind of for the rest of my life to be like, oh well, I'm used to getting no's, and I'm just going to carry on anyway.
Yeah,
you know?
you kind of dust it off.
Yeah. And it was such young, you know, and I wanted to be successful, whether it be in my local dance school or whatever, or when I went to performing arts school, like the whole time. And there was loads of no's. There was 20,000 no's before there was a yes, you know, and that yes was so sweet, you know. I think that's helped with the resilience of running a business.
And also understanding that the no's aren't necessarily a reflection of you. You could go into a casting, couldn't you? And you'd get there and you've been sent for the casting thinking you're kind of on a level playing field with everybody, but actually what they asked for was someone blonde haired and blue eyed. So I was never going to get it. But those no's become so kind of... I mean, almost habitual. That you kind of, it builds that resilience and that tenacity to keep going. And, you know, for me, I think that's definitely been so important. Would I want it for my little one? I don't know. I don't know. But I think for me, and that sounds like a massive hypocrite, doesn't it? But for me, I found it's been amazing.
But I think if they'll decide for themselves. My parents did not want, like they had no interest in me doing what I'm doing now. Like they, you know, they were teacher and a publisher, very normal, and you know they wanted me to just have a normal life, you know. But they had no choice in the matter, like, zero choice.
And they realised that pretty early on.
Yeah, pretty early on. Yeah, I remember going to my mum, going at 13 and saying, I just can't go to school anymore. She was like, what? She's a teacher. I was like, I just can't go. I just cannot go anymore. I need to go to a performing arts school. I want to dance every day. And that didn't happen. She didn't let me at 13. But the moment, because I'm quite late in the year on the birthday, so I was auditioning at 15 years old without, like, whether they liked it or not. And kind of, and then luckily got a scholarship to go to... go to school and I packed my bags and headed to the Big Smoke, and that was when my life really started. Was when that happened.
And how was that moment for you? Was that kind of like the realization, this kind of like the Big Smoke, as you say, and being in this is for me.
Yeah, it was everything. It was literally like everything, and I had to get a full scholarship, and they only gave like one full scholarship because I needed like accommodation to be paid for and things like that. So yeah, and there was lots of hard ones, and I was like, that's not going to be enough. I need the one. Like, I need the one. What can I do? Literally, I was there like, do you want me to do another tap dance for you? What song do you want me to sing? Like, you know, like, yeah. Like, I remember doing Greek dancing. I don't even like, do you remember that? Did you ever do that? I don't know. Anyway, I was like, do you want a little Greek dance? I've got this. But
I'll give it a go.
Yeah, anything that you want, I'm going to give to you right now. And yeah, luckily, I think they thought I was absolutely insane. I think they also realised I wouldn't leave the room if they didn't give me the scholarship.
Listen, just give it to her.
Yeah,
she's not going to go anywhere unless we do.
But that was the start, and then I moved out of home just like on my 16th birthday, and I became an adult very quick, as you can imagine, because I had to became a shop girl, to pay illegally because I was under 18, to pay for everything else, and to but I loved it. Absolutely loved it, and it was one of the best kind of few years of my life, and then that kind of allowed me to be, give me a little career in the entertainment industry, which was amazing.
When you were in the entertainment industry, when you're kind of at school, then leave school, what are you actually doing in that space?
I started. So in terms of working, I worked as a dancer and a choreographer. In my first life. In my first
She's
life.
got 9.
Yeah. I feel like I'm on 3 right now, but yeah, probably 9 by the end. And I had a really, really great time, and was able to work with lots of great people. I don't think I ever did actually dance for the Saturdays, but I did dance for lots of other bands and lots of other
How crazy
music
would that
artists.
have been?
I know. Definitely would have been like with you on the same shows.
Same shows
like
or something.
Comic Relief or Let's Dance or like all the kind of but yeah, if I wasn't dancing on them, I was helping choreograph them or choreographing them. And I did that quite young. I do believe in luck, but I hate the word luck because I think I've worked so hard for everything I've done. I don't, when someone says, you're really lucky, I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah,
sorry,
exactly.
I can't
No,
say
you
that,
can say it.
Can I?
Yeah, of course you
I just want
can.
to say fuck off.
Yes.
That isn't.
And
like
you create your
my
own
story.
luck. It isn't like
100%.
people always kind of, and we talk about this like, oh my gosh, have you seen that she's now doing this and this kind of overnight success mentality? And it's like, it took 20 years to become this overnight success.
Yeah.
I've been doing it. You've just now seen it.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think
you haven't seen the struggle.
Yeah,
Me in the gutter.
exactly that. So you were kind of sort of choreographing.
Yeah.
You were dancing.
Yeah.
You were doing kind of.
Yeah, lots of TV and still, and I was always doing music at the time, but I wasn't pushing it because one, you'll know, there's probably 40 dancers to one singer if you think about it across the whole industry, and I needed to work and I needed cash and I needed and I needed to stay in London because that was where it was, and where it was all happening. So I took every job. My first ever job was dancing as a lobster at Glastonbury. I was, I've done it all. Like it's been glamorous and it's been really unglamorous, Rochelle.
Listen, some people would take that lobster suit just to get into Glastonbury.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that was yeah. I was just turned 18 and I was like, this is amazing. Got my best friend involved, and she was like, "Are you joking? I've got to be."
Guess what, girl? We're going to Glastonbury. One catch.
Yeah.
We're lobsters.
We're lobsters. But anyway, it just kind of, and it spiraled. But actually, at the time, it was great. But I wanted to be creating.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be doing it, and I wanted to be singing, and I was writing a lot of music. So I decided to pack that all in and start my second life. And I started going on tour with my own music that I wrote, and it was really good. And we did really well, and it was really fun. And we toured with Little Mix, and we did, and it was all completely independent. It wasn't a buy-on. There was none of that, which of course is more normal in the industry. It was just just organic, and it was really exciting. But the music industry in the UK, it just didn't work out. I was told calm down, calm down, Lemon, and I was a bit mental. I was full splits, dancing upside down, singing that note. It was a bit much, but totally perfect amount of much, for me. But I think just in the anyway, it just didn't work. So got my and I couldn't get signed, didn't get a deal over here, and then got a flight to LA and had 3 nights in a hotel, and that was it. And really didn't have any cash. I'm talking, and when I say didn't have any cash, I'm talking, 500 quid in the bank, and it worked out. So yeah, got there, and on the last night there was a music event, and I was booked to see one of the producers I was working with in the UK had a connection with a publisher in the US, and on the third night it was that event, and I met him and his wife, and kind of told the wife, who's such a babe, and she was amazing, told her what I was doing. She was like, "Are you mad?" I was like, "Yes, like I am, but like I'm gonna make this work." And she was like, "Do you want to just come over tomorrow and stay in our spare room for a bit whilst you sort yourself out?" And actually, yeah, they ended up signing me, and I ended up staying there for like the best of 3 years and had an amazing time.
Amazing.
Yes, that was like my second life. And worked really hard, but that also, all of this that I'm talking about, and that hustle and that drive, whatever, and the highs and the lows, the risk, and the like, what am I going to do? Kind of led to Lemonade Dolls. So
It's so interesting, and it's so interesting how, because you always find this, you always, like every single woman that I've sat down with, there's been that before story, that kind of, this maybe wasn't, I don't know. You could say that it was always on the cards because it was all leading to this, but not necessarily at the time. This is actually a million worlds away from what you thought you were going to do.
Yeah, 100%.
So let's talk about by talking to you already, I can tell there are lots of different things that motivate you. But what motivated you to disrupt the lingerie industry in the way that you have?
So Lemonade Doll started as an Instagram account and had nothing to do with lingerie. So after a good stint in LA, story for probably another time, but it was a lot. Okay. It was a lot. The journey I had there was amazing. I did some incredible things, worked with some incredible people, but it was a lot. It was super lonely. I was there pretty much, completely by myself. I obviously had my publisher and his wife, but essentially, like, I was, they'd signed me. Like, I was still kind of,
It's a bit of an interesting dynamic.
It's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
I didn't have friends. I didn't have family. I didn't have a group of people that had my back. But at that point, and I'm fine. I'm independent. I can do this. I'm just going to get what I want. I'm good enough. I'm going to make this happen. But actually, I really, really needed someone to have my back and to look after me a bit. And it did end in a pretty shitty situation with one of the heads of a label, and it was really, really hard time for me. And so I got a plane home the next day, and I was like, I just need to be around my family, and I need to go back to Chichester, the place that I wanted to escape, put my feet in the ground, and just be like, okay, I'm okay.
Feel safe.
And feel safe.
Yeah.
I feel safe. And at Heathrow Airport, I set up an Instagram account called Lemonade Dolls. Now, everyone says, where does the name come from?
Yeah, like what?
No. I don't even, there is, Lemonade Dolls does not, the name, obviously my name is Lemon, but that does not have a story. Like, I just set it up, and when we landed, I remember the exact moment at Heathrow arrivals, and I set up the account, and I just started posting kind of positive, but not like whimsical positive, kind of like, it wasn't like kind of fluffy positive. It was quite raw and my intention was because I was angry and I wanted women to feel better about themselves. I wanted women to believe in themselves. In hindsight, it was me that needed to feel. I needed to feel better about myself.
You almost needed that network, like you say, the support that you were craving. The reason you flew home. You were trying to build.
But I was like,
that.
I'm doing this for other people. Actually, I was probably doing. I was probably doing it for me, but I didn't realize that at the time. And because it was quite authentic and quite like, I don't know, raw, I guess, because I was kind of not in the best place. It actually really, really grew, and the engagement was amazing. And I think the background of people that were following me before were quite eclectic background. From 16, I moved to London, and then I was traveling, all over. So my kind of network, my
reach,
friends,
I suppose,
it was just really eclectic. Is the only really kind of word that I can describe. And and it just started getting really exciting. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm like, this. And I never thought I would love something as much as music. And I never would have thought I'd ever left music, like ever. And I thought, this is actually doing it for me. And this is doing it for me in a way that's probably a lot healthier and and it's actually giving back, and it's not just about
feel
how
in
I
control.
look, or if someone thinks I'm good enough, or someone thinks I'm pretty enough, or that,
Yes.
you know, to put enough money behind a single, whatever. Like, you know, it was, oh my God, this is doing something really important, and I don't, you know, and I may be in a position in my life where I can actually do that.
It's quite an instant thing, isn't it, to see when something's connecting.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that being in the music industry. There's kind of like, do people like this? How's it going to land? You do a lot sort of, I suppose, quite insular when you're recording and you sit on stuff for a while, and then it's like, oh God, it's basically giving birth and bringing this,
Yeah.
you know, project then out into the world. It's quite, there's no sort of gauge on it instantly.
No, and it's really exposing as well, isn't
Yes,
it?
yeah.
And you put your heart and soul into something, and you just pray that people are going to like it.
People are going to like it.
Yeah, and you're like, I've done everything for this, and they're like, it's not good enough. Let's use
Yes.
this. You know, like,
yeah.
But this Instagram account, I was in control. Maybe, you know, maybe that was the first time I was in control.
Yeah.
Of
Absolutely
my
that.
entire life.
Yeah.
Because really, by the time I was 16, I was kind of, you know, someone was always in control of what was going to happen, if I was going to get the part, if I was going to get the
Deal.
if I was going to get the deal, what, you know, telling me what I had to do in order to progress or whatever, you know. And maybe that was the first time that I felt like I had my hands on the reins, and that was needed. Yeah.
And I suppose sort of not really having an expectation for what it was going to be, but
no
it's sort
expectation.
of building, and you sort of you're writing your own rules, aren't you?
Yeah,
because
totally.
this is something that I'm in control of, and
Yeah.
we're not sure what's going to come out of it.
Yeah,
But at the minute,
yeah.
it's something that I'm enjoying and is helping others. And
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
at what point do you realise, you know, that this is resonating with people? At what point does it then turn, or does the idea happen?
Go from a community into
a product-based business. Yeah.
Well, I had to turn it into something that could sustain my life and to and also build something. And I've always been very ambitious.
Yeah.
You know, like when I pop up, I was like, I want to be a pop star. I want to like choreograph like the biggest show in the world. You know, and then I was like, I want to build the biggest community ever. That's so positive. And then I was like, you know, then I want to build the biggest brand, you know, in the world.
Yeah.
I don't feel that. I don't feel like that now. But I did at the time when this was all. I'm still super ambitious, but maybe a little bit healthier level.
Yeah. But it's probably because you found your thing.
Yeah.
You've you know, found the thing that A, that you love and you're passionate about, but B, it's bloody working.
Yeah.
So when there's that
exactly.
push and pull of, I really like this, but it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely.
No one's biting and it's not doing what I
Totally.
want it to do. But this has been the time where it's sort of gelled at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so realised I wanted to turn this into a business, and I'm not going back to LA, and I'm not going back to music yet, and I'm just going to put everything into this. And I thought, okay, well, what product can I launch, and what is unsaturated, and also, you know, what is a product that can make women from all over, from all sizes, from everything, make them feel amazing. And I was like, what better way to actually strip it down and put them in their underwear and be like, you're amazing, every size, like wherever you're from, like you're incredible and you can do anything. And at the same time, there was only really two brands on the market that were mass market. There were lots of little brands, but there was only M&S and Victoria's Secrets. And Victoria's Secrets is everything I stood against. And M&S is an amazing brand, and absolutely, you know, think they're incredible. But you're not sitting around a dinner table going, you know, I bought this really sexy set from M&S. I love M&S, by the way, and we know we're probably going to work with them. But, you know, at the time, they, you know,
it wasn't seen as sexy to buy your underwear from
and
M&S.
I wanted women to feel sexy.
Yeah.
But I wanted them to be comfortable, and I wanted them to find a brand that made them feel epic. You know, so actually that point it was like done. There was no back and forth. It was right, we're doing it. And actually when I spoke to the community, you know, I actually then realised that a lot of my community weren't served at all. So, you know, I'm sitting there in a privileged position, you know, like being represented by everyone, could buy from every single brand, you know, like, and then a load of the community, some of my best friends, some of my, you know, they were like, we can't shop from those places.
And why? So tell me, what's the why?
Sizing. So it would stop at a certain size. A lot of high street brands stop at a certain...
Crazy that.
Yeah. and it has got better in the last like few years, which is fantastic. You know, like that is great. We need to get that.
Yes, more of that,
More
please.
of that. But specifically in lingerie, especially without underwire, there are just no bralettes for the fuller cup. And whilst I was on this mission, and I was like, how can I make this the biggest and the best, and and the most ethical? That I literally wrote it out, and I was like, right, well, if I'm 4 women, then I'm taking aluminium out of the bloody bra. Then I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, and then I'm like, right, okay, so we need to get it made, but where can we manufacture it where it's as sustainable as possible? We're going to make every single fabric recycled, and so I just kind of tried to look at and then it just happened, it just kind of happened. But by doing that and by speaking to the community, they led that. I would never have thought, oh, I'm going to make fuller cut bralettes and that's going to explode the business. That was from them. That was not my idea. My idea was just to create something that made them feel good. I didn't realize what would it, and of course it's well-fitting
and
underwear.
How that needed to look at the time.
Yeah. And they drove it. They drove everything, and that's we are a community-driven brand and a community-led brand, but especially at the beginning. Now we're bigger, and we're still led by them, and we're lucky enough to have never had one single pair of briefs or bras to landfill. We do not.
Incredible.
Which is amazing. But at the beginning, they literally were the driving force. Yeah.
Well, it's almost like you had the perfect focus group too, that you could, if you're so hands-on and it is a community-based page, or it's a community before it's a brand, you're talking to the customer, right? And they're kind of dictating what it is that 100%. Makes them feel sexy, and you're kind of taking the lead. But to do that and to be able to hold those reins and steer that ship, that's you. So you're from this creative jazz hands background. How do you learn how to bring a product-based business to life? What was your first, I know what I want this to look like, I know now what it needs to be, who it's for. Then what?
Well, so this is now, we're entering third life now.
Okay.
We're keeping up. And this was very interesting at the beginning. I mean, again, naively, I can do this, I've got this, I can do this all by myself, because I've done everything else up to this point, and then I found this factory, the last factory that does underwear in the UK.
But how? Because I'm always interested in, I always think when we do these episodes, so many people are, looking to build a startup or literally at that phase now. Where did you even find a factory?
At Google.
Yeah, so you literally just...
I'm talking grassroots. I'm talking me in my bedroom, lingerie manufacturers in the UK. And found one, and it was an absolute disaster. They came back big enough for a doll, complete terrible
Barbie bra.
Yeah, Barbie bra, terrible. And I thought, I'm gonna need to kind of get some expertise here, and I did, and I got some cool people involved, and again, when I say that, it took a long time to get some cool people involved. My network, whilst it was a quite vast network at that point, all my friends were singers and dancers, so it wasn't in the right industry. And I never really touched on kind of fashion really when I was in the entertainment industry, apart from my own kind of my own fashion and for my own shows. So yeah, it was completely different. But I just had to kind of do you know someone? And I asked questions. I would literally knock on doors. I remember just knocking on random doors around London, being like, "Hi, you're a PR company that has fashion brands. Could you help me?" And they're like, "We really can't. That's sorry, we can do your PR." But I just remember just kind of knocking on every single door possible, and just one by one, months. A few months go by, a year goes by, you start to build something, and actually I started teaching at Cycle, and
honestly, you didn't need something else to do when you. I love this.
I know.
So you also teach spin.
I teach spin, yeah.
So
I started teaching Cycle because they were like, "Do you want to get paid to exercise?" I was like, "Absolutely." Then I fell in love with it. Because it is kind of performing. You're on a podium and it's fab. but at the time I didn't know I was going to love it. It was the first ever boutique spin studio in Europe. So it was, and it was an amazing vehicle. It also really added to my connections because a lot of people that went there were very, well connected and had brilliant jobs and things like that. So, but one of the branding guys from Cycle. I had this amazing, one of the biggest branding companies in London, and I just went up to him and he knew me because I was like the mad cycle instructor, and I just said, I've got this idea and I'm going to launch this. I've built this community and I'm going to launch this underwear brand and it's going to be absolutely amazing and you can't say no. And I said, but I need $5,000, and he said, come up with something that's never been done before. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. I don't really do this. I don't really talk about this because it's actually a bit odd. But anyway, so I was like,
no, it's not. Nothing's odd here.
No, it is.
Here.
No, this is really, you haven't got to this spot. But so I said, can you put that in writing? That if I come up with something that's never been done before, you're going to give me the $5,000. And he was like, yeah. And I thought, well, what's not been done before? Everything's been done before. And then I remembered those smelly pens. Like the flavoured pens. Yes. And I was like, what if I make like the underwear smell of lemons, like lemonade dolls, lemon. And it was a joke. It was obviously a joke, but it's never been done before and I had it in writing. So I got this scented lemon bra and I was like, never been done before, you've got to give me $5,000. And then I was able to make samples.
Oh my God, that is brilliant.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's hysterical, but it's so weird. Good. It's so weird. Like, such a weird thing to do, but I did it and I got what I needed. And then that's how it really started. That's how it. That's how the journey, and I got $5,000 to like go, okay, I'm going to get some samples. I'm going to, reach out. I was on the first factory we used, it was literally me on Alibaba and like connected. Do you have all the audits? Do you have sustainability? Okay, well, we'll try with you. We don't work with them anymore. But, that's literally how it started. And, but I always wanted it to be big. So I did get, after I kind of got products and samples, I got investors. And that's when the journey of the entrepreneur kind of starts, because I was removed as CEO at the beginning, raised investment, and that was really tough. I didn't know I didn't know how to stand up for myself at this point. I was, and I also didn't really know what I was doing, So I had all these incredible people around me that had huge CVs and like really impressive, and had all the lingo and knew all the words. And I was thinking, I remember sitting in the first ever meeting going, I don't know what they're talking about.
We all have had one of those, haven't we? When it's not your world. And I remember being in my first meeting and people discussing MOQs and 3PLs and this, and everything was like, I'm like, JLS? Yeah. They're the abbreviations I know.
Love it.
I remember being sat there thinking, oh my gosh, they are literally talking Swahili to me. Yeah. Like, I have no idea. Yeah. No. And try as I might, but then also that become sort of so appealing to me, and I was like, I'm gonna talk like this one day.
Yeah.
I still haven't. I still don't. I say MOQ. That's about it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I find it a little bit cringe now. Yeah. I'm like, no, and I always want to make sure everyone in the room feels like they understand what's going on. But it's so interesting that we all have that meeting when it's not our background and we've got this idea and we know we want to run with it. Yeah. That we're like, actually, this is a different universe.
Yeah, it is a different universe.
And how was the kind of, because you just touched on that then, but you have these samples and then you're like, okay, I want to do this properly. How was the raising money period of time for you?
Yeah, so I've raised money quite a bit now, but the first time was when that was the first meeting when they were all talking about things I did not know a single one of them. And yeah, it was tough because I was completely taken advantage of. 100%. Had massive share dilution. I knew what was happening though. An incredible lawyer who is an investor now and still our lawyer to this day. He said to me, "You shouldn't do this," and I was like, "But I don't have another option." And he was like, "Okay." And he actually was, when we get to that, he was pivotal to Lemonade Dolls because it was about to go bust because it obviously didn't work when you've built a community brand around women and it's run by men and I
mean, who would have thought that wouldn't have worked?
Yeah.
It's so crazy because
it's crazy.
It should just be like, well, guys, of course, this isn't gonna fly.
Work. No,
if
no.
you know it. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't. And actually, even then, I was still writing the CEO emails. The investors didn't know, but I was like writing the CEO emails and the CEO sending them because he was like, "Lemon, help me," And I actually had to ask him to step in as CEO to get the money. So it wasn't, I played a part in it, and I knew what I was signing myself up to, but it didn't work. And it was going to go under. And it was, and again, I was actually losing interest because I am super ambitious. I want to build great things and I want to do great things. And it wasn't doing that.
Right.
And we had sugar. I called them sugar rushes. Like I knew we were onto something amazing. We launched in Topshop and we sold more units in Topshop than Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, and Topshop own all together in the first month that we launched.
Wow.
And so I knew that the
appetite
colours,
is there.
the appetite. I knew we were onto something, but it wasn't right. We were spending far too much on advertising. We weren't getting the return. It was just everything was wrong. And I then re-raised a second time and stepped in as CEO. And that was May 22 when we relaunched the business. I also had some really quite powerful people, really incredible people in at the beginning. And actually it really limited the brand because there was too many cooks. And because I didn't have the confidence and I'd never done it before, it was always kind of, I don't know, I was too nervous to push it
This doesn't feel right, but I actually haven't done this. So I'm not going to argue with them because I could be wrong.
Exactly. And also
people,
and they wanted to be right too. So anyway, so relaunched the business May 22 and that really allowed us, well, that's when we've grown, like I think now we're probably around 5,000% in growth, and it's really exploded and it's been a really exciting journey and story. And the first 3 years particular was just like, it was like a hockey stick. And it wasn't just because I was CEO, it was because I'd learned so much of not what to do. I built an amazing team. I was learning massively and we did what we needed to do with no red tape, with no red tape. And when I speak to founders now all the time, I'm like, it does not matter if you don't know this. It doesn't matter if you don't know what you're doing. Just follow the customer, like ask the customer what they want. And if you deliver it, they will buy it because it's not that complicated.
No,
Do you know what I mean? When you say it out loud, everyone's like, well, yeah, obviously.
Of course.
But businesses don't do that. Businesses so often, it's so led by ego or like the people at the top with really clever people. And
or prehistoric businesses that have done something similar. And this feels like the right route because that really worked for them.
Exactly. And so we just asked the customer what they wanted and we delivered it and it sold. And it was just, and no one was telling me not to do something or we need to follow trends or we need to get this designer in or we might still design everything to this day. But I'm not a designer, it's just, I'm just the consumer. I am the person buying the product.
Yeah.
And my friends are, and my community are buying the product, and we just listen and and it works.
In those moments of kind of feeling, I suppose, knowing in your gut that this doesn't feel right, but also not having, it's a bit of that imposter syndrome, right? That not having the confidence to kind of dig your heels in. And, this is the business and the brand that I founded and I don't feel comfortable. Do you think it's in those moments that I think, oh gosh, I feel very female. Yeah. And was there a kind of period of time that you kind of, like you said, you actually, like when you say that out loud, you've had to get a male CEO in to almost deal with the board, but you're actually telling the CEO what to say, so you're across it, but it's going to make your life easier that he's a male. Like when you actually break it down.
No. I mean, Rochelle, I'm quite angry about the whole thing, but in a good way and in like a positive way. Like, and usually when I'm angry, things happen. So I was angry about, the fact that there weren't products for some of my best friends to wear. So we made a brand for it. Now, I'm so angry at the fact that only 2% of women get funding. And I've raised multiple times now that, I'm now at 10 Downing Street, knocking on the door, meeting with, the small business minister being like, this is outrageous. We did a pitch with Goldman Sachs. I am like, I am fully down and it's mental. And actually, I'm almost not ashamed to say this, but I found what you said about kind of like trying to make everyone in the room feel good about not knowing acronyms. I actually feel quite guilty because, and I look back and I wish that I didn't have to do this, but I very quickly almost became a man for a certain period of time, like in those meetings. And that's how I got what I wanted. And that's how I got what I got the investment, and I took control, and I got the people that I wanted to invest. And I'm pretty good at now raising money because I know every acronym, and I know every single word, statement, every single number. Like, I am not I'm not analytical. I am creative. You know, I'm like over here with the fairies, creative, like bonkers. But when it comes to investment meetings, when it comes to that, there is nobody, not even my CFO, maybe my new CFO, because she's fucking amazing, but no one knows the numbers better than I do. And I've had to learn that, and I learn it quick. And I almost, I don't want to say I'm ashamed of it, because but I hate the fact that I had to do that. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
I hate
it's
the fact
almost
that I had
because
to
you
come
kind
in,
of...
I had to be like, you underestimate me. And I'm constantly underestimated. All the time. And I think we all are in that environment. Sorry, I don't mean that around women. I don't mean that around consumers. I don't mean that. But just when you walk into a room, you're like, and they're like, oh, here she comes. To that, you know. And
But I've been guilty of it, and this is why I'm interested in asking you. And I see it online, and I think it's such a discussion now that women are making themselves more masculine in those scenarios and not being feminine.
Yeah.
Because we've almost become sort of complicit with the fact that we have to be more masculine to get
100%,
shit done and be. But we
also have
needed
a seat at the table.
Yes,
you know,
exactly that.
I was like, I'm having a seat at this table, and I'm eating here.
So
and I'm
if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's almost it can do that to you, can't it? And like you say, it's not anything to be ashamed of. I think it's part of I think every female's journey.
I just hate that we have to do it, and I actually tell founders, I'm like, if you want to do this, this is what you've got to do, because this is how I've done it.
It's almost like your Sasha Fierce is like stepping into. Do you know what I mean?
Like, I went to a Tony Robbins conference like years ago, like hundreds of thousands of people, and I just remember him being like, tap your chest and like tell everyone that you've got this, and I kind of feel like that's what I do, and then I walk in and I'm like, yeah, you're going to listen to me, and you're going to invest, and
because you want to get shit done. And I'm like, it's almost like you have to, like we joke about the acronyms, but you do have to speak a different language, and it's that part that I found so intimidating at first, but now it's become my superpower. Yeah, because I don't know about you, but I'm always the person that walks into the room that with me they assume that there's an agent behind me or someone else that's cut a deal or somebody, and they kind of. It's not so much so now, but there was a period of time where they wouldn't take me seriously or talk to the person next to me, and thought that I was kind of away with the fairies. But I'm like, you should have been looking a little harder, because in that time I built my own management company because I didn't feel like everyone was doing it right. And and I think it's sometimes being underestimated is your superpower. 100%. But I kind of hate that. I hate that when I'm raising girls. Yeah, I hate that we're kind of like work twice as hard because people think that you work. I hate that that's the messaging, and I hope one day that we can all just show up in the right way. Agreed. But actually, until then, we're beating this drum.
Until then, exactly. And also, it's not all bad, because I think, it's not all bad. There is incredible male investors. I've got some insanely amazing investors.
I spoke to Emma Greed about this, and she was saying, look, of course those situations can be, but actually, if I look at the course of my career and the trajectory of it and everything else in between, the key players for me have been male.
100%, me too.
So it's not that it's not all men. We're not doing that
not
thing.
At all.
But actually,
but we know that the fund, especially around funding, the people making decisions are men. So and that's what actually the change is, and this is what I've been blabbing on about for a very long time, to trying to much more important people than me, being like, we have to get more women in the decision making seats. Yes. Because then that's when things change. Correct. We're just constantly trying to convince the guy that that they need to invest in lingerie. I mean, they don't understand lingerie. They buy, Calvin Klein 6 every Christmas, and that's it. So they don't, and that it doesn't.
Or something saucy for someone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which she never wears, and it's like dusty in the back of the drawer that never comes out. It's so uncomfortable.
That's not going.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true. We should touch on the success, because we touch on the moments that feel like, when you're like, we're on the edge of this, but it's not quite landed, and it's not. I mean, UK's fastest growing lingerie brand. We're going to take that.
Woo!
We're going to take that, aren't we? Number 2 on Elle's best lingerie brand. Like the accolades here, I mean, and they keep coming. You know you're on the right thing when, like you say, the community get it, and you have this moment where you're like, okay, we're outperforming these key players in Topshop, which is just wild. Hearing those accolades and those kind of milestones, what do they mean to you personally? And I suppose, what have they meant for the brand? Because when this is something that's such a community-led business, like you're all sort of fighting towards that same mission together.
Yeah.
The success and the growth. I mean, when we're talking, we've got, different, when you talk about Skims and you talk about, and you're in that conversation, how does that feel?
Yeah, it feels amazing. I think like any entrepreneur, it's never enough. Like we're always looking.
You're doing the thing that I do.
We're not doing enough. Like what are we doing next year? Like what's happening? Like we need to keep growing. We can't slow down. But I think in terms of like what you're saying, like how it feels and those accolades and how important it is, one thing that I think has been a key part to the growth is that we've taken the community online with us. And what I mean by that is I send email, like Gmail type, emails to them probably once a week around what's happening, what's going on. When we had, when Meta shut us down, we did a campaign called Too Sexy for Meta. It was the biggest day in sales we've ever done. We tell them everything, when we went, we do a lot for Choose Love. Sustainability is a huge pillar to our business, and we've donated over 40,000 briefs to refugee camps and female refugees. We went to Irida, which is an amazing female refugee centre in Greece, and we took them on the journey with us on that. And it's like, and then the donations started flooding in, and we take them with us, and so when we invite them, you spoke about focus groups earlier, but we do focus groups with them. We haven't done them for a while, so we need to do more. But we used to do them all the time, and we do community events. And last Christmas, so just a few months ago, we had them all in the office. Like we didn't take them to a fancy bar, and sometimes we take them somewhere nice, but they were in the office, and we were like celebrating, it was screaming, everyone was cheering, everyone was like, hundreds of community members just in our office, and they loved it. So
I bet.
Not in some gorgeous glam, where it actually happens with the racks of, fabrics and, underwear and one of probably the best moments of the whole thing was when we did a community shoot, and we had 100 women all come for a day, and it was just in a kind of studio in Shoreditch, and I said, right, we've got a photographer here, but I'm not expecting any of you to, I don't even know if you've got lemonade dolls on underneath, but if you do want a photo, we've got a photographer here. And then I turn around and there's 100 women standing in lemonade dolls.
Oh my gosh,
and
amazing!
And I definitely ugly girl cried, during that. And this is like women from 18 to 75, literally, and from
incredible
everywhere. You
but
can
they
imagine.
trust you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, when you're building a brand, and particularly when it's so community led, trust is such an important thing, isn't it? And
yeah,
turning around and seeing 100 women stripped
Yeah,
in their
it's
underwear, I
amazing.
mean, the trust doesn't get any bigger than that, does
yeah,
it?
literally.
Having sort of stepped down as CEO at the beginning in that first round, and then knowing actually, no, this is where I sit, very comfortably, and this is what's best for Lemonade Dolls. What would you say your leadership style is? How does that look for you?
So I think I'm a really good leader, but I'm not a good manager. And
Okay,
so when I
that's
realised that, I was able to then delegate fast. And that's really happened in the last 2 years. So I
Right.
think I'm the visionary, and I can take people on a journey to the to the North Pole. Wherever we're going. And I can kind of, a bit like the community, and build that trust and build, take everyone with me. And we've got the North Star, whatever that North Star is for that day or for that week or we're going,
Yeah.
and we just make it happen. And we're a scrappy startup. I mean, you know what it's like. It's, you know, it is wild, you know, and we do things that we've never done before pretty much every single day, you know, and we're achieving things that, you know, other brands of our size would have not achieved, you know, and like things that are just brand new. Yeah, just completely bonkers. I mean, we're at the official lingerie partner for the biggest movie coming out this year, and you know, things like that, getting that to happen, which came from like one phone call and then me going, you know, to my head of product, and to a couple of members of staff being like, I don't know how this is going to happen, but it's going to, you know, and like that's where that's my USP, my superpower for the business is to continue to keep going. We've got this. We're gonna, you know, and I don't. Like, there's a lot of crap that goes on in the business, and I'm pretty good at sheltering the entire team from that. They don't really know. Skill. They don't know. Like, and I might tell them after it, or I might tell them, or they might see when we're out of it, and I like let them in on like what mega fire has just happened. But that's where I sit, and knowing that has helped massively, because I didn't know that. And I definitely, at the beginning of being an entrepreneur, and even beginning of like May 22, when I took over back as CEO, you know, I micromanaged way too much, because I thought, well, I can just get it done quicker. Well, I know everything. No one's going to know the business better than me. And actually, you're going to stifle the company in that way. And actually, you need to let people make as many mistakes as possible, but hopefully then they learn from them. Yeah. And, you know, and then you're going to build little, and I always say, you know, right now, I really feel like, you know, we were a really small team, and we've had an interesting last few months, but I really do believe that the key players in the company, they're all little entrepreneurs. Yeah, they're entrepreneurs, and
That's so interesting.
We're hiring now, and I'm like, if they're not exceptional, then it can't happen. It won't work. It's not going to. And like, we've had some incredible people like interview or work for us, but incredible isn't exceptional, and they could be exceptional somewhere else. Right? It's not that they're not exceptional. You know, they could be exceptional in a different company, but right now I need a specific type.
And do you know as soon as you have that person sat in front of you?
I'm getting better.
Yeah.
No,
because
I've
some
made
people
some
really
serious
have
mistakes.
that
No,
instant
I don't.
click.
I wish I did.
I've worked with people for years and years and years, and then been stung and thought, oh my gosh, you know.
Yeah.
So my judge of character is slowly getting better.
Yeah.
But it is.
I think it does take time, because also I don't know whether you're like me, but I really, really believe in people. Like, I'm like, I really want you to do well. Like, I really want to like have your back. I'm a Leo. I'm like super loyal, and like
this is me to a T. This is me to a T.
So when someone's there and they're a salesperson and they give it everything, I'm like, oh my God, they're amazing. Yeah.
It's almost, they become like your extended family. And I feel the same way that I do about my kids, that I'm like, I won't have anyone say anything bad about my team. You know, and I've got everyone's back until the end. And sometimes I think that's when it hurts the most, when you have those situations that you're like, oh my gosh, I had you, and and I would always be so solid for you. And I spoke to Radi Devlukia actually on the podcast, and I love her and she's incredible, and she said something really interesting, and she says that she hires energy over skill. Yeah. And she says for her that is so important.
I always say attributes over skills. Attributes over skill.
It's so interesting, isn't it? And I think that's also so refreshing to hear. I was talking to my niece the other day about grades, and you know, it's been exam season, and genuinely, as much as I'm like, I want you to do well, and I'm that kind of, and you know, I heard Dad was probably not so fond of me saying this, but I'm like, look, it actually doesn't matter. I've got 3 businesses. I've not got a grade to my name. Yeah. But actually, if you can sit and put everything in and come and show up and want it 100%. And have common sense and like, you know,
you can't
other
teach
roles,
can't
you know,
teach the hustle.
You know, in the finance department, you're going to have to know what you're doing. But you can't teach that side. And for what she wants to do, I'm like, just get out there and do it and be good and want it and adore it. And you'll skyrocket, because that's the kind of way it works.
But you can't teach the hustle, and you can't teach grit.
Or common sense.
And common sense, you can't. And like, actually, you know, for a startup, it's very, you know, there'll be different stages. At some point, you'll be able to have kind of, you will need different attributes and skills. But I think for me, even in our, we're definitely still startup mentality. We're a really small team, and that absolute, I'm going to get this done until it's done. And I'm not leaving this office. I'm going to, and I don't promote toxic kind of work hours. It's not normal for anyone to be staying kind of till 9 o'clock at night. No. But it's that drive of doing, it's that drive of I'm going to get it done. And I can literally, there's my 3.
And it's rewarding.
Yeah,
when you're, like you say, when it's that scrappy startup mentality, it's rewarding. Totally. It's like you see those kind of, you see it playing out. And of course, everybody, like you say, if everyone's sort of mini entrepreneurs, that lights them up in the same way it does you.
As much as you, and they're like, okay, we're gonna take this to the next level. Okay, Lemon, what you're saying? We're gonna do 100% in growth this year. I get 500%. Okay, we're on. That's it's hard to find, but when you find them,
that comes from you, and that filters down. And I think that's, you can see that, you radiate that. I want to do our rocket round now.
Okay.
We ask our guests the same questions every week.
Okay.
The first one is, what do you believe are the non-negotiables for launching a business?
Earth-shattering, absolute resilience and belief.
Ooh, love that.
Just unwavering.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter, like you said, doesn't matter what you've done before, doesn't matter how clever you were at school, whatever your grades, if you believe in it and you just keep focused and you do not look back, and however many no's, however many times you're underestimated, however many times you're told no, or it's not good enough, or it's never going to work, just keep going.
Just keep going. And you've got to believe. The belief has to be there. When did you first realise that you truly launched?
First time. It was probably, well, there's key moments, isn't there, at the beginning, when we launched in Topshop and I was like, we've just sold more than all of these huge brands. Oh my God. That was a big moment, but it was so early stages. I think the key moments, you never feel like you've made it because you're constantly pushing for more.
That's being an entrepreneur, isn't it?
Exactly, because otherwise you would just stop, I think when we did New York Fashion Week and we did a tit talk in Nordstrom with some most insane, I do these things called tit talks. They're usually live. They're kind of usually in retailers. It's like TED Talks, but
tits.
Who the fuck's TED? Tits.
Love it.
And it's basically just very raw conversations, often around diversity, racism, equality, body positivity, body acceptance, anything, but it's quite it's quite nerve-wracking because if you get it wrong, it's a disaster. We luckily haven't ever got it wrong.
Yes.
And obviously, as a kind of white woman, it's also even further on the edge. But to lead conversations like that.
Of course.
But they've been really powerful, and we did one in Nordstrom and on the shop floor in New York, and then the director of Soho House was there and said, that why we're going to pay for you to have a fashion show in New York. You just have to do a tit talk, and it has to be about XYZ, because Soho House needs to be aligned with your conversation.
Wow.
And I was like, is this happening? And at the same time, there was a singer, a music artist that came up to me and said, I'm going to write a song about lemonade dolls, and I think you should be on the track. And, all these things happen, and these
that's
incredible...
your whole world's colliding, isn't it?
Yeah. And
that's unbelievable.
Totally. And then there's this woman called Alethea Crimmins. You definitely will have seen her because she goes viral pretty much every other day. She's absolutely fabulous, and she is the epitome of what Lemonade Doll stands for. And here she is, and she's now a really good friend. But she said she would come on the panel for free, and she's massive. She's very, really successful. And been on, Oprah, and she's very, very successul. And with that was like, this is. Yeah. If I die tomorrow, I am happy.
Yeah.
But this is.
And also,
wild.
it's those moments of and sometimes they can be really obscure,
Yeah.
But those moments of this, people are getting this.
Yeah.
What we're putting out, they're understanding it, and I suppose you've sort of had that in sort of different increments the whole way along, but to have those
that was
incredible,
pretty
incredible
moment.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up and the last thing you do before you go to bed?
So I've been dreading this conversation, Rochelle, because I've been listening to a load of your amazing podcasts, and I've loved them, and I've been listening to them all, and they're all these amazing women have got such great practices, and I'm just thinking, shall I lie or should I tell the honest truth?
You
So
tell the truth.
I
And
am
also,
on my phone.
they vary, by the way. They vary.
Yeah, I am on my phone the moment I go to sleep to the moment I wake up. Like, as in, like, that's the first thing I do. And I do need to change it, but that's just how I am. And that's just how I
I'm
keep
the same
control.
as you. I'm the same as you. And I wish I wasn't, but I am. And
Yeah.
that's the fact. But I was actually saying the other day to another guest that I have started this thing where I plug my phone in at the other side of the room.
Yeah, very good.
Just so because I'll even like get up for a wee and be like, just quickly.
just
I'm
a
like,
quick check.
what? Also, what the fuck am I
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
do about it at 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
What do I do about it?
Yeah.
Like, just forget it.
Yeah.
But
But the other thing is, you probably would actually just get sort of sorted out at 3 a.m. And that's my issue.
Because no one's there to disturb me. I know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
And then you'll be
or
like,
at least I've written the email and
Yeah,
I'll just press
exactly.
send at a reasonable hour, but it's
Yeah.
done. It's off
Yeah,
the
yeah,
list.
yeah.
I know. See, we shouldn't talk. We're not good
No,
for each other.
no.
So I started to plug my phone in, and my husband was laughing at me the other day because he was like, "Babe, this is not doing much use. It does in the night though."
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
it's over there. Don't bother. Don't
need
look.
to do that.
It is good. And then also I use your alarm on your phone, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, which is another thing. I've got an alarm clock.
I bought an alarm clock. It's still in the box.
Yeah, try and get it out. It does
Yeah.
do something, but even still, at the minute the alarm is on my phone. It's at the other side of the room, but it means I walk up to get it, and it's doing something. But the other day he was laughing because I was like hanging off my bed on the like where the lead was like at the end. He was like, Rochelle, give it up! Like my
it's not
literally
by
my
my
feet
bed,
were just
yeah.
hanging.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I'm the same, but I'm conscious of it, and I'm trying to. Even like blue light, I know all of this is just not good for us.
Yeah,
so
no, I know.
I'm trying, but I'm with you, girl, and I think
It's
most
just
of us are.
I just don't think it's going to change. I don't think it's going to change. But I do set aside time, like exercise. I teach spin still. Even now, I teach 2 classes a week, which is
That's like your
wild.
escapism,
Yeah,
right?
it is. Yeah.
We
so I have
have
time
to do a spin class. We have to do it.
Please, honestly, it's going to be amazing.
We could do, because
Have
we've
so
got
much fun.
such a good community here. We could do a big community spin class. That would be so much fun.
Done.
There we go.
Done.
Oh my gosh, you play good music.
Yes.
Of course you do.
Yes.
You're into music.
Yeah. Like the best music. It's I often say, like, you're going to have to sing, and we often sing whilst we ride. I mean, it's.
Okay,
it is wild.
we're doing this. This has to happen. What is one piece of advice that you wish you hadn't listened to?
I hadn't listened to. Your energy is just so great, but you don't have what it takes to run a company.
Okay. Well, you can't listen because you're running a company.
But I still get told that all the time. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But your energy is what, from the conversation we're having, your energy is what runs the company.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, that's probably, I shouldn't, and I wish I'd realised that sooner.
Yes.
You know, I think that's what, like, and I listened to it and I was like, right, yeah, you're right. And you know, that's kind of when, I wasn't leading the team, but that kind of took, it shouldn't have lasted that long.
Yeah, but
you know?
sometimes it takes the doing to know that actually.
Yeah, exactly. And I just
I'm
needed
on
a
the
moment
right
to be
track,
like, you know what, you know, put your big girl pants on,
Yes.
tell everyone that this is happening, and go for it and do it, and then you don't look back at that
Confidence
point.
though,
You
and
don't look back.
and it also comes with experience,
Yeah.
right? Like experience of. Did you have experience of running a company? No, but now you do. I think this.
Yeah, exactly.
We're hard on ourselves sometimes when we look back and we think, I wish I'd just fucking put my big girl knickers on or whatever.
Yeah.
But actually,
My big girl lemonade on,
yes,
pants on.
absolutely that. But you know, it is the experience, and that gives you the confidence to kind of pay that forward too, right? What's one thing you wish someone had told you before you started your business?
It's really, really hard. It is so hard. Like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
You know, like, ever done. And I've done lots of wild things, and this is without doubt the hardest chapter in my life. And I'm really pleased that there are lots more like these amazing podcasts, you know, the podcast you're doing, and there's more female groups and female like community like evenings, because I think 6, 7, 8 years ago, it just wasn't like that. And people weren't talking about it. And now my favourite conversations is when I sit down and we have a glass of wine and we say, how shit was your week? You know, and I'm like, you know, and it's perfect. It's perfect because it's really lonely because you can't talk to your team about it. My husband, bless him, he's amazing and the most supportive person in the world. But like, he's not an entrepreneur and doesn't run a business, you know. And my parents are like, well, I don't even know. They don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
they're not living it and they're living it through you. And of course they want to be that support system, but to have someone that gets it, it's like, well, actually, I handled this situation like this, and
exactly. So just having that like reality and just having that kind of that connection and just honest conversations with some people doing it with you. That because I also do think that I think women also try and hide that as well. Like I actually have more honest conversations with some of my guy founders because they don't need to protect themselves as much, whereas some of the women
and that idea of sort of perfectionism as well, that kind of like I've got this together, I'm fine, because of having to feel like we have to have it together because in a male instance they do. So it's kind of it's a whole cycle, isn't it?
Exactly. So I try and make it my mission. Like if I'm with some female founders, I'm always like, well, this happened this week and it was absolutely terrible. And then you can just see them all going,
okay, I'm going to say,
this happened too. And then it all starts to come out.
But
like, just to, you know, because if someone goes, well, I've had just the best week and we've just had the best, you know, customer acquisition costs and we've just grown, then everyone starts to hold back. You know,
fold.
And you don't fold and you're like, God, well, that's not the same. So, I think just,
those little icebreakers are always helpful.
Agreed.
What would be the dream collab for your brand?
Dream collab. So it's really interesting. So we haven't really kind of worked with many celebrities or influencers because our customers have been our ambassadors. But we are looking to kind of do something now, and I think the dream collab was Choose Love, which is our refugee charity, and we've got that. We're now an official partner to Choose Love with TK Maxx and H&M, which is hilarious, and Lemonade Dolls.
Amazing.
You know, so that was kind of our dream one. But if it was, I'd really love like Adele.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I love her.
And I just imagine her being on stage, being like, all right, you know, like giving an amazing performance, then just like getting a bra out, you know.
I can so see
you know,
it. And she just gives, she oozes confidence.
I just love her.
And she always has done. She's amazing.
Yeah,
and for you, I can always sort of picture now that kind of musical nod.
Love her.
Like, on the vision board. Thank you, Adele.
Exactly.
Thank you. And then lastly, if you could choose one female figure as a mentor, past or present, who would that be?
I was having to think about this question and I found it really difficult to find one person. So I've got it down to 3. Is that okay?
That is more than okay.
Perfect. So Sarah Blakely.
She's up there.
Up there. Michelle Obama. Absolutely obsessed.
Yes.
Like read literally everything like possible about her. I just think she's so incredible.
How good would it be to just have her on the
just
phone?
There. Yeah, I just
just voice note me occasionally. It doesn't even need to be a call. You're too busy, Michelle. Just a voice note.
Yeah, just a voice note.
Yeah.
But I just think she would just be like the best advice and just have so much clarity and, you know, be like, you're panicking about things that you don't need to be panicked about.
Yeah.
You know?
She's kind of so stoic, but she's so, I feel like she would be like a good leveler in a room. Okay, everyone just calm down a second and bring you back.
Yeah. And then I know this probably, I think a lot of people have said this, but just Oprah Winfrey, like, I mean, we just can't, you can't not
They
have
are
her.
three great ones.
You can't not have her in the conversation.
It's just
like,
rude.
It's rude.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't. So, they're my 3.
Each episode, we get our guests to leave a tip, almost like one piece of tangible advice. If somebody's listening to this and they're a startup and they're thinking of doing something in a similar vein to yourselves, or they're like so inspired by that lingerie category and inspired by your story, what would like one takeaway be that you think they would need to know, or you think they would benefit from?
Not going back to that kind of belief again, but that just do not underestimate yourself. Like, number 1, don't underestimate yourself. Just, if you believe in it, you are as good as the next person. No matter what their CV says, no matter what they've done, like, you are just as good. You know, you are just as good, and you can be whoever you want to be. And if that is to set up a new lingerie business, or if it's to set up a new, you know, I don't know, food business, whatever, beauty business, do it. But just know why you're doing it and lead with like absolute conviction. You can pivot, you can turn left when you were going right, whatever it is, doesn't matter. And you don't actually even need to know the journey, right? You just need to know the end goal.
Yes.
And the end goal can even change. And that is going to be really squiggly, you know, to get to that end goal. But just if you have that belief and you just doesn't matter what anyone says, you're just going to go and you're going to get there, then you will be okay. And you will still be standing.
Yes. That is such good advice. It's such good advice. I think we touched on before, we sometimes overcomplicate. I mean, we overcomplicate everything, don't we? just by default. But I think actually, if you believe it, just get going.
Yeah, just get going.
Get going,
Yeah,
and everything
100%.
else will kind of...
Yeah.
You'll find the way.
100%.
And if it doesn't work out, you'll find the thing that does. But you've
Yeah.
tried that and that,
Yeah.
you know, I think it's just so
Agreed.
important.
And like, I think a lot of people, the most people that I know that have led the most successful careers have been the ones that, I think the saying is burn the bridges. You know, there isn't another option. So you're not, you know, I love side hustles, that's fantastic, but at some point you've got to go.
Yes,
and
yes,
it's going to
yes,
be
yes,
really
yes.
tough, you know, and there is no option. There is no other option, and that's what I've led with pretty much my whole life. Is actually there's no other option.
This is
you know,
gonna
this is
happen.
it. Like
Yeah.
I am going to get that scholarship and leave Chichester, and I am going to get signed, and I am going to get like someone to look after me, or somewhere to live in LA, and like blah blah blah. And I am going to succeed, and I am going to get that money, and I am going to be, you know, just there's just no other option. Because there's so many times, and you know this, like so many times that it's going to be so hard that you have to get picked back up and you have to keep going.
Yeah.
And actually, when you start to get successful and you start to bring in people, I mean, the last 3 months have been really a challenge because there was kind of a potential takeover, and I was going to be maybe not in the position that I'm in right now, and would have been massively diluted and really kind of, I was on the verge of being completely fucked over, literally 3 months ago. And like, that was probably that's been, like, I was pushed to the point I've never been pushed before, Rochelle, like never, ever in my whole life have I been pushed to that point. So, but then I was like, Lemon, you're a fucking bad bitch. And there's only one option, you know?
Absolutely.
And you can't stop now.
Yes.
Like, and actually, this is only going to keep happening. Like, the more momentum you build, the more, you know, when you've got a, you know, hot commodity, people are going to start to get interested in this. They're going to want to buy in, and they're going to want to, you know, they want a piece of the pie, you know. And actually, I think it's hard at the beginning because you're proving that you've got something. And then I think it even gets harder as you start to build something great, you know. And then, but if you remember that there's no other option, then it will work. And anything that comes your way, it's like you know, I don't know, everything. You're up here and everyone else is like kind of down here trying to, you know, take something from you or add something.
End goal is there.
Yeah.
And everything else is just outside noise and distraction.
Exactly.
That's what you have to kind of...
Exactly.
But it takes that belief to be able to continue that tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Because if you've not got that passion for what you're doing,
exactly,
all of that's impossible.
Exactly. And it's infectious. And when that happened, you know, in the last few months, I've now got some literally like some of the biggest, incredible people to now come and invest, to now come onto my advisory board, bigger than I could ever have imagined. Had a lovely, fabulous call with Emma Greed. And, you know, some advice from just people that were not even in my network until 3 months ago. So that has now that's now leveled me up. So it nearly knocked me over completely. And now I'm like more in a better position than I've ever been in.
Exactly that.
You know, and my advisory
but you
board
often find that.
Yeah, it's just,
if
it's
you can
wild.
get through those moments and you're still standing, everything after it will just...
Yeah, it starts to
It
pick
propels
up.
you, doesn't it?
It does.
It really, really
Yeah.
does. I want to please you out of that.
Thanks, yeah.
We don't
me
like
too.
to hear that.
Woo!
We don't like to hear that. But you done it, girl.
I did it.
You're here to tell the tale.
We did it. I'm here to tell the tale. We're still selling pants.
Exactly.
You know.
All's good.
It's all good, yeah.
All's good
Yeah.
in the world. And then lastly, we talk about Lady to Launch, but I love to think about lunch because it's one of my favourite things to chat about. How do you normally spend your lunch hour? Where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with? What are you eating?
So I don't have a lunch break.
Okay, got it. But no, most of us
during
don't.
the week. Yeah, during the week. I love food. I do love going for lunch. We kind of have a very much like a 10 to 6 policy. Working hours 9 to 5, fine, flexible, but we work through. Everyone has the option to take a lunch, and it's 9 to 6 with a lunch, but no one does. And we just work through, and I usually have a simmer. Who I love, by the way, and totally obsessed with. Do you know about them? No. They're
That
like,
just sound like such a random statement.
yeah,
We have a simmer.
we have a simmer. So,
Okay.
so one of a life hack that you've seen those memes where you're like, I'm trying to stay healthy. I'm trying to get 8 hours sleep.
It's just
I'm
too
trying
much.
to eat, I'm trying to eat 100 grams of protein. I'm trying to run a business. I'm trying to build multi.
And I'm going insane.
And I'm trying to have a relationship with my husband. I'm trying to me see my friends. Not possible. But a life hack was we should get sponsorship actually from this from them. But they're like really, really, really delicious, healthy. They've got a lean range now for good for protein.
We like protein.
So I have them for like lunch and dinner.
What, and you kind
And you
of
just microwave. It's 3 minutes in the microwave.
Almost like
And
a
they
meal
deliver-
prep situation.
Yeah, it's meal prep. It's meal prep, but it's just like it's really delicious. And
Yes.
They're on the Times fastest growing 100 businesses.
Okay.
They've absolutely exploded. They've got quite a few celebrity investors as well. They're brilliant, and that's been a life hack actually, because it's allowed me to I get home late most evenings and I leave early and I'm working all day. So actually having that where I'm not thinking, oh my God, I've got to
And
go
then
to
you're
the
not
shop.
exactly
I've got to
that.
cook.
Yes.
I've got to chop. It doesn't
Yeah.
work. So and then I can actually I can exercise. I can do the exercise. I can take my vitamins. I can see my husband.
Well, it is taking those, and Emma Green says this, she doesn't think about anything small.
Yeah.
She goes, I don't really think about, what I'm having for lunch.
Yeah.
Like, I like to just not worry
Yeah,
about that.
Exactly.
So those
take it off the plate.
Those little hacks
Yeah.
help that happen.
Agreed.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I have loved talking to you, and it's just so incredible to hear your success, and it's so clear to see why your success looks the way it does, because your energy is infectious. And keep on disrupting that
Thank you.
industry.
Thanks so much.
It's incredible. I love to see it, and we are cheerleading from afar always.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
I love that. Don't forget to follow us on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts to make sure that you don't miss out, because next time we're going to be joined by another incredible lady who launched. If, like me, you're a watcher, then please follow us on YouTube, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.